Howdy, Texas real estate agents. Eddie Knezovich, NLF Partners, coming into you here today, and we are excited about an amazing virtual course that we're going to be walking you guys through to educate you guys on, how to better position yourself as a real estate professional, drive more leads for your business, drive more revenue for your business, and put more money into your pocket. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start out, I'm going to dive right into my presentation. But before I get into my presentation, everybody wants to know, how do we get credit for this hour? Well, you guys came to the right place. If you are a real estate agent and you're in the state of Texas, you're in the right place. I need you guys to utilize the chat, okay? If you guys don't utilize the chat, I'm going to assume you're not here, and I'm going to assume you're not paying attention in present. I see a handful of you guys writing in there right now. But that's how we're going to communicate throughout this presentation. Okay, at the end of the presentation, in exactly an hour, I'm going to throw a link up on the screen like this. The link is going to be at the bottom of the screen near where my name is. And your only job is to utilize that link to go put your information in, and you will then get credit for the class, not today, but tomorrow. My assistant will send you guys an actual course certificate. She will also record it with the Texas Department of Real Estate. Okay. So again, you're not going to get the class credit today. It will go on your record tomorrow. And again, you have to utilize the link that we will provide in the chat and on the bottom of the screen after the course is approved. Now, I do ask you guys to answer questions throughout the presentation in the chat. That's just to make sure that you guys are paying attention. You didn't just throw this on, but I do promise to you guys that today will be an amazing experience. This is not going to be your boring continuing education that you guys are accustomed to. My hope is that you guys learn some things that, again, put revenue in your pocket today and in the future. And we'll go from there. So guys, I'm going to start with my presentation. My presentation is called Get Your Money Right. This is a how-to guide in how to invest your capital for yourself, grow your overall portfolio, and also impact your real estate portfolio. If you guys as agents don't own real estate yourself, well, I'm going to teach you guys some tips and tricks that could potentially put you in a position to become an investor. If you don't have any interest in becoming an investor yourself, that's totally fine. I'm going to educate you guys on a couple of items on how you can attract existing clients to come back, go through your own personal process to build out and potentially, add more revenue to your bottom line before this year is over. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to tell you guys about, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background information on myself. I grew up in a small town in Columbus, Ohio. And I grew up humble beginnings, single parent household. My mother, my sister and I, we had a 900 square foot home. Mom was on food stamps, worked 2 jobs just to keep us in a decent school system. And life was humble beginnings in the beginning. I then went to The Ohio State University. I know Texas fans are not fans of Ohio State, especially over the last couple of weeks. But I went to Ohio State and graduated from there in 2011. It took me 5 years to get through my undergraduate degree. And I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. So where did you guys go to school? If anybody went to college in Texas, tell me where you guys went to college. Go ahead and throw that in the chat. Texas A&M, love that. Beautiful. Who else? Nobody else went to college? Only Megan? UT at Austin. Love that, Cindy. Awesome. Stephen F. Austin. Awesome. Good guys. This is awesome. Glad you guys went to school. If you didn't go to school, that's okay too. I always joke and say that it's the biggest waste of money that I spent my most expensive piece of art on my wall. Then I got into corporate America. Okay. Corporate America. And I got my first job. My first job was with Designer Shoe Warehouse Corporate. And I don't know how many of you guys have worked in corporate America. If you guys ever had a job in corporate America, throw in the company that you guys worked with or worked for. My first job was with Designer Shoe Warehouse Corporate, and I realized very quickly that corporate America wasn't going to be a good fit for me. Reason why I realized that was because I had my first annual performance review, and I quickly realized that I was outworking everybody that was on my team, but I was unfortunately, even though I was outworking everybody on my team, we all got pushed with the exact same raise at the end of the year. So even though I felt like I should have earned more money, I outworked everybody. I wasn't getting the return on my personal investment. So I decided to go into financial services and bet on myself. In 2013, 2014, I was not a great financial advisor. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just cutting my teeth. So how many of you guys have been dead broke and flat busted in the real estate space? If you guys have been dead broke, you've been flat busted, go ahead and throw that up on the screen. That's okay. I have been in your shoes. And when I was dead broke and flat busted, I was pledging my next paycheck through a check cashing place. So every single Friday I would go before I actually signed a client on, and I would, get a payroll advance check through a place called CheckSmart, so that I could pay my rent, pay my utilities, pay my bills, because I wasn't bringing in enough revenue to sustain my lifestyle. Okay. At that same time, I was living in a basement apartment. So I wasn't very good at what I did. And I call this my rock bottom time frame. So I was living in a basement apartment. I was still in Columbus, Ohio, and I was living in the worst ghetto at that time. My rent was $475 a month, and I literally had one stovetop burner that worked. I had to hand wash my dishes. I didn't have a dishwasher. So very, very humble beginning. So if you've ever been dead broke, you've ever been flat busted in your real estate career, I have been in your shoes. In 2014, I decided to go out on my own and become an independent financial advisor. Okay. Independent financial advisor. And at that time, I opened up my own office, and I decided to get into, fee-based planning and all of that stuff. Okay. I also am big on practice what you preach. So there are a lot of financial advisors out there in the country that do not actually own real estate. There's also a lot of financial professionals out there that don't own what they sell. So they're selling you guys products, they're selling you guys tools, but they don't actually own them on themselves. I am also a real estate investor, a savvy real estate investor. So I understand your world very well. Additionally, my financial planning practice, we specialize in working with real estate agents. So we have over 700. Yes, you heard that number right. You guys have 235,000 licensed professionals in the state of Texas. We have over 700 real estate agents that we work with across the state of Texas, Florida, and the state of Ohio. So I know your world very intimately. I'm a real estate investor. So I started out in 2015 house hacking. I started buying properties, investing in them, growing them, selling them, and then taking my profit and investing into more real estate. I've acquired, we joke and we say we went from 0 to 100 real quick. Okay. So we own 54 doors as of today. So I own 54 doors as of today, individually, not with any partners. And everybody always goes, oh, how the heck did you do that? You're a financial advisor. Why did you do that? Why do you like real estate? So today in this presentation, I'm going to teach you what that looks like. We do everything from light cosmetic work all the way to full guts. So you'll see on some of the projects that we have, we will even do full guts. We'll rip everything apart, put it all back together. My team continues to grow. I've got 12 full-time professionals that work for me and help me out in this regard. My family also has grown. I got married. I've had 3 kids in the last 5 years. I've got a 5-year-old son. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I have a 2-year-old daughter. I know these pictures are a little bit outdated. We're missing the most recent one, but we've been very, very busy. So again, I've got 3 kids in the last 5 years, and I no longer live in a basement apartment. We bought our forever home a couple years back when the market was a little bit more favorable for buyers. Acquired a 6,500 square foot home that my family and I redid, and now we live in. So I'll show you guys some of the renovation that we did. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck does this have anything to do with real estate? What does this have anything to do with investing? And what does this have anything to do with us in our future? Well, guys, the first thing I want to tell you is, if you guys have been dead broke, you've been flat busted, you come from humble beginnings, it isn't an excuse, okay? Don't use it as an excuse. And the other thing that I'm going to tell you is, I am not special. I do not have anything that anybody in this room doesn't possess. I am not a good athlete. I was a C average student. I came from a single parent household. I'm not special. So I don't have anything that you guys don't possess. I tell you guys that because, again, I'm not special. So you can do exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do that stuff for yourself or help you guys out for your clients, because some people don't want to invest in real estate, which is fine. So what am I going to teach you guys on this presentation? I'm going to teach you guys different financial concerns, different phases of saving. I'm going to teach you guys the different financial lessons that I've learned. I'm also going to give you guys some action ideas that you can utilize to go out and grow your real estate portfolio, or yourself help your clients out and position them in a better way so that you guys get more referral business and you guys actually put money in your bottom line. So first things first, I told you guys we have 700 real estate agents we work with across the country. What are the things that keep our agents up at night? First and foremost, volatile global economy, changing job market, and consumer and student debt. How does that affect real estate agents? What does that have anything to do with this? Well, in 2020, 2021, Texas was a hotbed. People were leaving California, leaving Arizona, moving into Austin, moving into Dallas. Your metro areas were booming. Houses were flying off the market, 50, 100, 150,000 above asking price. It was very easy to be a real estate agent and do very well. Fast forward, 2022, interest rates started to skyrocket. Now you guys are in a position where inventory is sitting for a little bit. And a lot of real estate agents that we work with in Texas are saying it ain't like it used to be. It isn't how it was. Did you guys know 46% of the real estate market has exited the market over the last 12 months? So the volatile global economy has a big impact on your paycheck. The changing job market. Did you guys know, just due west of you in Arizona, there's a company that you guys pay advertising dollars to, that you guys are giving money to, that are legitimately trying to take you out of your own industry, okay? There's a company out there, and I'm not going to name the company because I don't want to get sued, okay? But you guys, everybody here has a smartphone. Did you know that one of the companies you guys are paying advertising dollars to is already built an application, and they're beta testing it in Arizona, right outside of Mesa and right outside of Scottsdale? You go in on your phone, you enter in all of your social security number, your basic mortgage information. You get a full approval up to a certain amount on a mortgage. You can then take that approval, it drops into another application, and you can go to show and goes without a real estate agent present up to that dollar amount. And you can scan your smartphone at the door on a Supra, and you can enter the home, look at the home, and put an offer in on that house right from your smartphone. So literally, the companies that you guys are paying dollars to advertise on your behalf are trying to take you guys out of the market. So what does that mean for you? Well, you guys as real estate professionals really have to shift what you guys are doing, how you're doing it, and how you guys stand out as reasonable people in your career. You've got to make sure that you're doing a fabulous job in order to stand out. And so I always say you've got to do some things that you didn't have to do 20 and 30 years ago to be a top producer in the real estate industry. Lastly, student loan debt. If you're young, under the age of 40 and you're in this course, student loan debt has plagued you because you probably went to college, didn't know that you were going to get into real estate, and you're still paying on it. And then if you're older and you're in this room, it's consumer debt. Consumer debt. Okay. So if you're older and you're in this room, consumer debt. During COVID, there was a lot of people, hey, put an addition on your house, put a sunroom on your house, 0% financing for 3 years. 3 years is up. Then the balloon payments start. Then it's 24% financing. So, you've really got to look into these things and see how things are going. So student and consumer debt have plagued a lot of the clients that we're working with. It's up 132% since 2012. Okay. So who here in this room is paying for school or paying down your student loans? Who here has consumer debt? Just answer yes. If you answer yes to any of these, throw it in the chat. I want to see those yeses popping in. Slam that on your keyboard. Who here is concerned about making your day-to-day expenses? Who here is hoping to acquire or buy a house? Did you know that 64% of licensed real estate professionals in the United States of America do not own a home? Yes, you heard that right. 64%. Okay. Who here is hoping to invest in real estate? Who here is trying to get their money out of other markets, stock market, tertiary markets, and put it into real estate? Who wants to buy rental properties? Who would like to be a landlord? Who here is hoping to retire someday, concerned about retirement or their future? Who here is hoping about those things? So if you answered yes to any of those, you came to the right presentation. I'm going to teach you a bunch of stuff. Okay. So you guys are all working to make the responsibilities, pay for your home, pay your student loan debt while preparing for tomorrow. A lot of you guys younger, saving for the bag, saving for the trip, older, saving for the house, the vacation home, or even potentially financial independence and retirement. So if you guys don't get anything out of my presentation, I hope you guys learned something from this slide here. So the first thing I'm going to tell you here is you get a paycheck, you get a commission. What the heck are you supposed to do with it? So first things first, you guys get paid. What do you do with that paycheck? So I get this question all the time. And the first thing we see here is this gray up in the top left-hand corner. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's this gray. So when I first got into financial services, I was always taught to pay myself first. And we live in a society where people literally pay themselves last. They spend all they get revenue in, they pay for their mortgage, they pay for their lifestyle, they pay for all their things, and then they save what's left over. You got to re-engineer your mindset. You've got to pay yourself first, save your money first, because if you don't do the profit first mentality, you're never going to have the money. And unfortunately, a lot of your businesses are not sellable assets because people are buying you. They're not buying ABC brokerage or CDE brokerage. So you guys really got to set yourself up for the future. And if you haven't gotten started, yesterday was the best day to start. Today is the second best. So go ahead and get started, automate your savings, and get money working for you. But my wife, she suffers from this grave disease that's plaguing America. And every single one of you guys has a smartphone here. And my wife, she suffers from this disease and they haven't figured out a vaccine or a cure yet. I'm hoping that this administration will find the cure for it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but the disease is called Amazonitis. Okay. And what it is, it's a disease where you click a button on your smartphone and magically a bunch of boxes shows up at your doorstep. And again, unfortunately, they haven't come up with a cure for it. We've been looking into, we've invested a lot of money into different organizations to try and help it. But you don't want to be like my wife. You don't want to suffer from Amazonitis because it's a horrible disease that can completely derail your retirement. So pay yourself first. So 25% of your income should be going into your pay yourself first bucket. Okay. Separate from that, you've got to make sure that you pay Uncle Sam. 25% of your pay should go towards Uncle Sam or your bucket for taxation. Okay. We live in one of the few countries in the world where you can literally get your hand cut off. You can go to jail for evading the tax man. So we've got to make sure that we're paying the piper. We're paying Uncle Sam. And then if you can live off the remaining 50% of your income, you're going to be in a fabulous and fine spot. So we've got to make sure that we live off what's left and we invest and save what's there first. If we can do that, that is going to put us in a very, very fabulous position. Okay. So that is good news. The next thing that I want to show you guys here is when you guys actually start to make money, what do you guys do with that capital? What are the things that a lot of real estate agents should be doing that they don't know that they should be doing? So first and foremost, you guys get a paycheck. You've done all the things that I've set up. Now you've got cash in the bank. Where should that cash go and how should it be structured? Well, first and foremost, you need to have a bucketing system, okay? A bucketing system that provides you with 3 or 4 different ways to put your capital away. So first and foremost, you got to have a short-term bucket. You got to have a mid-term bucket. You got to have a long-term bucket. Now, I don't care what buckets you choose within the makeup of these 3 different things. All I care is that you at least put money away in these 3 buckets. So your short-term bucket, you want to generally have a lower amount of capital here. This is going to be things like your cash, your bank accounts, brokerage account, money market, CDs. Reason being why you want less here is because these are usually not high income producing assets. These particular assets are not going to grow by very much. You're just hoping to keep up with and pay for and barely keep up with inflation. Okay. Midterm buckets, a little bit different. Midterm buckets are going to be things that are going to outpace inflation. They're still readily available and liquid and accessible. These are going to be things like brokerage accounts, cash value life insurance, fixed indexed annuities. And then you're going to have long-term buckets. Long-term buckets are going to be things like your 401ks, traditional SEP, simple IRAs. These are going to be things like your Roth IRAs, your post-tax or post-tax Roth IRAs, and variable annuities, pensions, Social Security, and last but not least, real estate. Okay. Last but not least, real estate. Now, why is real estate? Can anybody answer this? Why is real estate a long-term investment or considered a long-term investment? Do you guys have answers on that? If you guys do, please type it out really quick. Throw it in the chat. Anybody have any answers? Increase. Yep. Increase in value. Love that. There you go, Cindy. Keep going, guys. Give me some other answers. Why is real estate considered a long-term investment? All I'm seeing is increase in value. Guys, property value increases gradually over time. There's usually financing involved. Great. Yep. Biggest thing, guys, why it's long-term is because you have 3 ways you make money in real estate: cash flow, principal pay down, and capital appreciation. It takes a long time for those things to happen. Okay. So real estate is also not a liquid asset. It is very difficult to get capital out of it. So I own a couple of my properties. I own free and clear. I don't have a mortgage on them. I just pay a tax bill every single year, property tax bill. But those particular properties, I have to find somebody that has either a large amount of cash, or I have to find a bank to finance it. Okay. So that's why it is a long-term investment, not a short-term investment. So again, to kind of highlight this, guys, we want readily available, liquid, accessible cash, not going to grow by a lot over here in the short-term bucket. Mid-term bucket, going to outpace inflation, still liquid. And then long-term, illiquid. You can't touch it until 59.5 or for a long period of time. Going to grow by a lot more, but going to take time for you to get access to it. This is why you want to divide your money up over a 3-bucket system. During your phases of saving, you got to have patience, determination, stamina, and focus. If you're just starting out in the real estate career and you guys are just getting into it, okay, you got to grow your income. Your income, you got to focus on growing your income in your earlier years. I always say niche to rich. Okay, my highest earning real estate professionals in the state of Texas, they all have a niche that they adhere to. Okay, so some of my real estate clients in Texas, they are in Dallas and they only focus on high-end condo buildings in the downtown area, high rises. I have another lady that's over in Houston that only does ranches out in the oil fields. I have a client up in Odessa, Texas, that only does farms and ranches, and some oil land. All of those people that I'm talking about make over $1 million a year selling property. Yes, even in Odessa, Texas, I have a client that makes over $1 million a year selling real estate. The reason being is because they are in a niche. They are hyper-focused on one particular area of real estate, and they farm all the remaining of their real estate out to other people on their team or other people in their office. Now, you're saving for your first home or your first investment property, you're paying off your debts, and you should start systematically building these buckets to save for the future. Like I said before, save 25% of your money, set up an automated direct deposit into your checking and savings account and into your wealth accumulation account. Okay. Separate from that, you need to build a 1-year emergency reserve fund. And then you also need to begin building a tax deferred savings plan. Okay. Tax deferred savings plan. Because that's going to reduce your tax liability down. So if any of you guys are in this room and you guys are writing a check to Uncle Sam at the end of the year, did you know you can put money into a retirement account, reduce your tax liability down, and still come out ahead on the other end, and be able to not have to pay Uncle Sam as much. So if you guys are writing big checks to Uncle Sam, shame on you. I am here to teach you guys vehicles and buckets to be able to put money away, so you guys are not a prisoner and you guys don't have to keep giving Uncle Sam money. So if you guys are in that position, you're looking to get out of that quote unquote rat race, let me know and I'm happy to help you guys out. And then if you guys start making a couple $100,000 a year, you guys can also pay yourself money on matching your existing stuff for yourself. So if you guys are just starting out, you're just getting into real estate. Oh, great question, Thomas. What is the one max advantage of receiving commission checks through their corporation as a sole proprietorship? The answer to that is, from a tax perspective, if you do it through an S corp, it'll pass through at a lower tax burden to the corporation than it would you individually. So by paying the S corp pays a lower tax rate than you would as an individual. So that's why it's always better to use a company, get set up as an LLC, an S corp. If you guys don't have a good tax professional, I have a virtual one that works in every state, Texas also being one of them. They're in Utah, and they set people up all the time. So if you guys need somebody, I'm happy to make a referral. I'll give you guys my contact info at the end of this, and can help you guys out with this. But if you guys are just starting out, this is the amount of money you need to save or invest or put away in order to hit $1 million in saved assets by the time you hit age 65. So who wants to be a millionaire? Okay. If you guys want to be a millionaire and you want to get to the point of being independently wealthy, if you're 25 years old, you got to be investing $381 a month in order to get to $1 million by age 65. If you're 35, that number jumps up to 820 a month. If you're 45, it jumps up to close to 2,000 a month. And if you're over the age of 55 and you're trying to invest for your future, you've got to put away about $6,000 a month in order to be in a position to be a millionaire at retirement. So, guys, very, very, very important. Yesterday was the best day to start. Today's the second best. If you haven't gotten started, get started sooner rather than later. S Corp is better than a C Corp. Yes, Thomas, for your situation, for a real estate agent, S Corp is the best, as long as you're making over $100,000 per year. Okay, if you're not making $100,000 per year, probably just makes sense to do an LLC. Now, get off the starting blocks, make it early, make it automatic. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips and tricks. Thomas, I don't know your specific situation. What I can tell you is that if you're making over $100,000 a year and you're a real estate professional, the best setup for all real estate professionals making over $100,000 is an S Corp. But again, your situation could be different. We'd have to look at it on a case-by-case basis. But again, we have tax professionals that we work with, that we refer out to our clients. And we'll go from there. So guys, I'm going to teach you a handful of ways that you guys can creatively teach your clients how to acquire rental properties without spending any of their cash or little to no out-of-pocket expense. I'm going to go for most conservative and most aggressive, but I'm going to give you guys 3 tips and tricks. And I'm also going to teach you guys how to educate your clients that are real estate investors so that you can snowball more deals into your pipeline. Okay. So first and foremost, one of them is called OPM, or other people's money. It's also called hard money. Okay. Another one is called CVL, or the infinite banking concept. Another one is called brokerage accounts and utilizing capital against the money that you have. So we utilize lines of credit against our assets to acquire more things that make us more money. So this is what you guys are teaching a lot of your real estate investor clients. This is what I refer to as the Dave Ramsey method. This is the traditional method, or the single. So most of you guys, when you guys tell your clients how to buy real estate, this is the traditional way. You guys are telling your clients, hey, save up 15 to 25% of your capital for a down payment on a piece of real estate. Secure the property. Problem with this, it only allows for you to buy one property at a time. The other issue with this is it allows for very little room for you to reinvest or invest in this property. Maybe potentially down the road, you refinance and pull some of your capital or equity out. What it does is it puts a lot of strain on your savings. So it's very difficult for you to scale this. So if I were to do this, and I would have done this method in buying my own real estate, I wouldn't have 54 doors. I would maybe have a max of 8. Okay. So again, nothing wrong with it, but how do you guys teach your clients the right way to do things so we can scale up our overall portfolio? So we're going to start with the most conservative. So first and foremost, did you guys know, have you guys ever heard of the infinite banking concept, IBC method? It's been floating around for a couple of years on TikTok, Instagram. Now, I'm not telling you guys this is the end all be all. This is just one method. It's a very conservative method that works for a lot of people. People are very excited about this method because it doesn't have a lot of risk tied to it. Okay. I'm going to walk you guys through how it works, how it functions, and how it could help you guys out. So did you guys know banks are the largest holders of permanent life insurance in the country? Banks that you guys work with, that you guys bank at, they all buy permanent life insurance on their balance sheets. And there's over 212 billion, yes, you heard that right, with a B, $1 billion in cash value life insurance across all the banks in the country. So they buy this asset, and what this asset does is it gives them a guaranteed rate of return somewhere between 2 and 4% throughout the life of the contract. In addition to that, if the carrier or company happen to be profitable, these companies and carriers will also pay what's called a tax-free dividend, okay? Now that dividend can either be taken in form of a cash payment, or it can be reinvested back into the policy and help you grow your overall capital. Once you have money inside of your life insurance, you can pull it out and spend it just like cash, okay? So no mark-to-market risk. You're getting a high rate of return. You're able to pull your money out and spend it like cash. But I'm going to help you guys go a step further. Did you guys know that banks will actually allow for you to borrow or lend against your life insurance? They will give you a line of credit very similar to a home equity line of credit against a property. So literally, you can actually borrow against your life insurance at a lower cost of funds than what your money's growing by. So let's go back to this. Let's say that your policy is getting a guaranteed 4% rate of return. You're also getting a 6% dividend. So at the end of the year, you're getting a 10% rate of return on your capital. We can borrow rates right now. I just got rate sheet this morning from a couple of the banks I work with. Rate sheets this morning on cash value lines of credit are between 3.5% and 6%. So lower than your home equity line of credit, lower than your securities-based line of credit, lower than a borrowing from a hard money lender. So it's the cheapest cost of funds in the market today. So you move your money into life insurance. Life insurance grows by 10%. We borrow at a 3.5% cost of funds. So we're netting 6.5% on our money that would normally be sitting in a bank earning 0.001%. Now we're earning 6.5% on our cash, but we're still able to utilize all of our cash. So we take all of our money out of our line of credit. We go and buy a piece of real estate. We fix that property up. We get the property rented. We then do a cash out refinance and put fixed long-term debt on that piece of real estate. We now have all of our money back into our line of credit, and we now recycle that line of credit. What that effectively allows for us to do is to save our money one time in one place and grow and scale our capital across many different places, okay? So this is the most conservative, but this is one way where real estate professionals are putting their capital to work, growing their money, and borrowing against it without having to spend any of their capital, okay? Now, traditional investing, this is a little bit more of a moderate strategy. If you're a traditional investor, you can do the exact same thing I just mentioned with your cash that would normally be in the bank. You can do this inside of a stock portfolio. So did you know you can invest in a stock portfolio, and you can invest in a stock portfolio, and you can have your money growing for you in the stock market, and you can borrow against that, again, at a lower cost of funds than what your money's growing by. So you can put your money to work in a stock portfolio. You can grow it by 10, 20, 30% in the stock market. Cost of funds to borrow against your stock portfolio right now are around 7 or 8%. So your money's growing in the market. Let's say over the last year, you did a 20% rate of return. You're borrowing at 7. So you're able to scale your portfolio by 13%. You fix that property up, you get it rented, you do a cash out refinance, and you rinse and repeat, okay? Same exact thing here. What I always tell people is don't let the Great Recession rule you, okay? Don't let the Great Recession rule you. Did you know that, what a lot of people don't realize is that, the stock market over a long period of years will do phenomenally well, okay? So don't let the Great Recession rule you. If you guys were investors back in 07 and 08 and you didn't do so hot, the markets always come back. Don't try and time the market. Stay the course. Did you know Brinston, B. Bauer, and Hood, these are 3 financial economists, that proved that modern portfolio theory will outrule trying to time the market. So if you were an investor and you were in the stock market in January of 2007 and you invested in the S&P 500, money went up to 113,000, 13% from 07 to 08. What happened in 08? Market tanked. From 08 to 09, market dropped almost 50%. So your account value would have dropped down to about $54,580. Now, had you stayed the course, not liquidated, not freaked out, not had any emotional ties to your investments, decade from when you started, your money would be worth about $175,000. It recovered, and it recovered well. If you liquidated and exited the market, tried to time the market because you thought you were smarter than economists, got back in 1 year later, 10 years later, you're just back to break even, okay? So by trying to time the market, you left $60-some thousand of gains and profit on the table. And had you liquidated and never got back in the market, well, now you've lost to inflation. Now you're upside down. So stay the course. The market will do well. Also, don't chase the winning asset class. Don't listen to Kramer. If Kramer calls you up and says, buy into NVIDIA, buy into, this company or that company or this ETF or that ETF, today's winner is often tomorrow's loser. So if you're buying on the tail end when everybody else has already won, you're already far behind. So if you look at this chart and you look at these top highest returns, most of the time, the next year, it usually falls pretty sharply. So you don't want to chase today's winner. If it's already won, you've already lost. So buy a diversified portfolio, invest regularly, and invest on a regular basis. Those are the tips and tricks that I would give you guys for that kind of stuff. And then finally, guys, we're going to go through and we're going to talk about the most aggressive and the riskiest, okay? OPM, other people's money, or hard money. So did you know you can go out and you can borrow money from a private investor, or there's companies out there that will pool investors' funds together and they will lend out capital for hard money or other people's money. Now, generally speaking, the interest rates today are going to fluctuate between 8 and I've even seen them as high as 21%. So this is when you borrow capital from an investor. It's generally going to be interest-only debt. You use their money to go acquire a piece of real estate. You make renovations on that piece of real estate. You get that real estate rented. You refinance that real estate, and you hope and pray it appraises for more than what you have inside of that property, okay? Now, the big thing here, why is this one the riskiest? Okay, why is this one the riskiest? Because you have variables that are outside of your control. Not only do you have, market fluctuations, real estate market fluctuations, but you have appraisers. You have the cost of goods. You have construction. I have a project right now that was supposed to be a 4-week project that's gone on 8 weeks. Had I borrowed that capital from a hard money lender, that could have thrown off all of my profit that I was planning on making on a flip. So you've got to be smart about this stuff. But this is why OPM and other people's money is very risky. So again, guys, the ultimate goal, income for all of your tomorrows. Stay focused on your savings goal. Stick with a disciplined strategy. Do not be swayed by emotions or the news. Guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you guys are on Instagram, feel free to give me a follow. I share a lot of my stuff on here. This is my direct email address and my direct cell phone number. So if you guys call me, this actually rings right through to my cell phone. That is my email address, my work email, but I'm going to open this up for questions on the concepts that I shared with you guys today. Lastly, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to share with you guys a link to my calendar. I don't normally do this, but if you guys are interested in learning more about your own financial situation, we do not charge anything to meet. But I will also copy a link and I will drop this in the chat so you guys can schedule directly on my calendar. Feel free to utilize the link over there on the side, and that will allow for you guys to schedule with me. So if you guys have any questions under the sun, please go ahead and throw them in the chat right now. I'm going to leave it up for 4 minutes before we close the presentation out. And then Anthony, if you could do me a huge favor and throw the link to register for the course in here, that would be greatly appreciated. Do you have that link, Anthony? Awesome. Thank you so very much. So guys, at this time, you guys can use the link over there that says Next Level Continuing Education. You'll plug in all of your information on that link, and we will look forward to getting your credits approved with the state. I hope you guys found this to be beneficial. I hope you learned a thing or two. We try and give you guys a robust amount of information that you wouldn't otherwise get from other continuing education providers. We are going to start rolling out 2-hour CEs starting next month. So keep an eye out. And again, shoot us a follow on Instagram. Give me a call. Let me know how I can help you guys out with your own personal financial situations. Look forward to earning the opportunity to work with you guys. And I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful day. Do you buy flips or rentals in a trust? Great question, Thomas. Answer is yes. All my real estate I own in a trust. I have individual LLCs on every single property, and that is the way that my attorney helped me set everything up. It was what I was advised to do. So it really just depends on anybody's situation. But yes, I do, to answer your question. Any other questions at all? All right, guys. Well, that's going to conclude this for today. And I hope you guys found this to be beneficial. And I will look forward to catching up with you guys soon. Thank you so very much for attending. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day.